Hello everyone. Okay, so as we were doing the chapter number 5 of our class 8 history, that is when people rebel 1857 and after. So finally we were on the last topic of this chapter, that is aftermath. Okay, so we are going to get to know that now this total rebellion has suppressed in 1859, in the end of 1859, and British has regained control all over the country. All right. Okay, so this topic, we are going to cover this topic, this whole topic in this video. So before starting, I want to tell you that if you get any kind of questions, doubts, or anything, then please mention in the comment section. I will definitely answer all of your questions as soon as possible. Okay, so let's begin. Aftermath. So first thing here comes that British totally regained control of all over the country by the end of 1859. Okay, now for that, now they have introduced new policies. Okay, so they have introduced new policies so that such kind of rebellion won't begin or won't develop in any kind of situation for that purpose. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to cover six new policies introduced by Britishers at that time. So in the first policy, we are going to, in the first point here, you can see the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858. So what happened in the first thing in the first point is that a new act in 1858 came. Okay, in 1858 a new act came, and in this act the powers were transferred from company to the British crown. Means the supreme, or you can say president, or you know a president, the governor, the head of state, the British crown. Okay, in like in India the head of state is the president, right? In the same way British crown was the head of state of Britain. But now, because company was ruling all over the India and company belongs to Britain, that is why Britain means Britain's head of state will also became the head of India. Okay, head of India means British crown. All right, so in the first thing, the new act in 1858 was this, that the powers, all the powers transferred from company to the British crown. Now think, why did this happen? To ensure more responsible management for India, so that Indians could believe that they are in the hands of more accountable management, more accountable government than company, because company was not that responsible, right? Okay, now comes to the second thing in this, in the first point. Okay, I'm talking about the first point. So the second thing here comes that British cabinet, actually a secretary of state for India was appointed by the British crown from the British cabinet. Like in India, in the parliament, in the lower house of parliament, means in the Lok Sabha, that is Indian cabinet ministers do sit in that part of our parliament, right? So those cabinet ministers, you can also consider it as Indian cabinet, right? So from the British cabinet, just consider this as the British cabinet, and one person was taken or approved by the British crown, that this person will become Secretary of State for India. And what is the work of Secretary of State for India? This person has to tackle all these matters of governance in India. Okay, all the matters. And who can help this Secretary of State for India? Who can help this Secretary of State? So the British crown also appointed and made a council, so that this council would help Secretary of State to take decisions, and this council will advise Secretary of State to make any kind of law in India or any kind of act in India. Okay, so this council was known as the Indian Council. Okay, Indian Council advised Secretary of State that what can he do in India or what can't he do in India. Okay, for advising purpose. Now the third thing comes in this point is about that Governor General. We have still we are learning, we got to know about Governor General till now, right? That who was the Governor General of India in 1836, 1848, 18, like whatever year, right? Now this governor general post converted into viceroy. Okay, viceroy. You have also seen in your first chapter that the first governor general and the last viceroy. Why is this first governor general? If there is a first governor general, then the last governor general tell, or if there is a first viceroy, then tell the last viceroy, right? But governor general, this post's name just converted into viceroy, nothing else changed. Okay, nothing else changed, just the name has converted governor general to viceroy. Okay, now why did this conversion? What was the reason behind this conversion? The reason was this, that the viceroy terms, this terms represents what? It represents personal representative of crown, means the British crown, the British head of state, its personal representative, means this head of state, the representative, the one who represents British crown, that person is known as the viceroy of India. Okay, because in India British crown can't go, right? British crown has to take care of Britain mainly, but someone should be there for on the behalf of British crown in India, so that person will be the viceroy. Okay, that person will be the viceroy. All right, now coming to the last thing in the first point, that is about the British government finally had a direct rule over India after this 1857 revolt. Okay, so British government had a direct rule now over India. Okay, so first point we have covered. Now coming to the second point. What second point tells? There are, in the second point, there are three things actually. First thing in this paragraph, it is about that the ruling chiefs, all the ruling chiefs in India are are that each and every ruling chief of the country at that time in 1859 or in 1858 or after 1857 revolt, whoever is ruling still in the country as a chief, that person would be assured that no land would be taken from him or would be annexed from him, would be swooped from him by the Britishers anyhow. Okay, so this is what, and a safety of their land was provided to the chiefs. First thing clear? Now coming to the second thing. What is the second thing? That now the kingdoms can pass on there, means the chief has their kingdoms, right? This is the chief. These are their kingdoms. Now kingdoms, these chiefs can pass this kingdom to who? Can pass this kingdom to their son. Okay, to their sons or to their heirs. And now adopted sons are also qualified. Now they are not illegal, they are legal now. Adopted son to the son. Okay, chief son. So this get passed. Kingdom can be passed to the chief sons or the heirs and adopted sons also. Okay, second thing clear. Now the third thing in this paragraph is, in this point, is that however, after this all, they have to, means these chiefs have to acknowledge, these chiefs have to recognize the British crown as the sovereign paramount. Remember what is sovereign paramount? Sovereign paramount simply means the supreme power, the supreme one, that no one is beyond this supreme power. Okay, so this is supreme power. You cannot, this is the supreme power. Now after this there's no one higher in the post than this supreme power. Okay, so they have to recognize the British crown as the supreme power, and they are just subordinate. Subordinates means the person who are lesser in post. So these chiefs are just subordinates of the British crown. They were asked to recognize the British crown as the supreme power and to remember that they are just subordinates of British crown. All right. Now the second point clear. Now the third point. What is the third point? Here it tells that now Indian soldiers. First thing, why did 1857 revolt rose? This rose because of the reason, because there were Indian sepoys in the British army, and those sepoys were pissed off the way they were being treated by the Britishers or the company, right? So that is why What Britishers did, they saw them, they didn't realize their mistake. They saw that this is it's not their mistake. That is why they reduced the proportion, the ratio of Indian soldiers from the company's army, or from the army, right? And they recruited more, they improved, or you can say increased, the proportion of European soldiers in the army, in the British army. Okay, and now this proportion reduced. All right, so they now from India only very few people will go in the army, right? A very few people, and from Europe a lot of people will go in the army. This is army. Okay, now these few people were also being bifurcated by the Britishers, that these few people should not belong to Bihar or Central India or some, South India. These soldiers won't come from these parts of India. These soldiers will come from the tribal parts of India, that are Sikh. These are Sikh. Then Pathans, and here these are Gurkhas. Okay, Gurkhas. These three tribes, remember these three tribes, here it is mentioned as well: Gurkhas, Sikhs, and Pathans. So only these three tribes, only Indians from these three tribes were allowed in the army. Now, why did this happen? What was the reason? So actually in 1857 revolt, some tribal groups, all the Central India was against Britishers, all the Indians were against Britishers, but some, a very few tribal groups helped Britishers to resolve this 1857 revolt, to suppress this 1857 revolt. And these were the tribes here mentioned: Gurkhas, Sikhs, and Pathans. Okay, so that is why they allowed Indians from only these tribes, because they helped the Britishers, and Britishers wanted to pay back the favor of these tribal people. Okay, so this is the third point. Now, the fourth point, the land and property. Now, there was a belief, or you can say something, Britishers had this belief that this revolt was done basically by the Muslims. Okay, why? Because they believe that Muslims are the responsible in a big way in this revolt, for this revolt. Okay, it was just a belief, otherwise there was nothing like that. Only Britishers felt this, or you can say assumed this, and on that basis they confiscated. What is confiscated? Basically in Hindi we call it as zabt karna. किसी का सामान जब्त कर लेना, ले लेना. So confiscated means to take something from someone by on legal things, by government. All right, so the land and property of Muslims were taken on a large scale by the British government. It was a kind of punishment actually for Muslims, only Muslims, remember. Now, in the fifth point, it tells that British decided to respect. Now, Britishers also realized that in their colonial period, they can't be always, disrespecting Indian religions and all every stuff. So that is why they now started to respect the customary religious and social practices of people in India. They realized this thing. Okay, and in the last point, it tells in the sixth point, policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. Simple, the landlords, the zamindars, they were provided a safety over their land rights and over their lands. Okay, clear. Now this whole chapter finished here. Now we are going to have an MCQ session in the next video on the channel Historia, so please be waiting for the next video on the channel Historia, and stay tuned, and thank you. Have a good day.